Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on tonight's Nuts and Bolts Live, where we unwrap and uncover various parts of the success journey in the space of direct selling. And it's a profession that is, for me, something that served me for 28 years. I've spent all of that time always trying to improve, trying to learn, trying to self-support and train as many other people around the world as possible that are in the industry to start winning in the space. And that's where I get my juice from. I love sharing whenever I can and shedding light whenever I can on my experiences and the experiences that pretty much anyone that succeeds in this industry goes through. It's generic. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's something that can be predicted in advance. So imagine that if your tripwires could be predicted in advance, then you could do something proactively to not necessarily avoid them, but lessen the impact of them. All right. So today I want to talk a little bit about, what do you say to people when you want to invite them to look at your opportunity? All right. So assuming you're a brand new person, and again, what you say and how you say it will change over time with experience and with knowledge and with confidence. All right. So that's natural. As you gain more understanding and your competence starts to improve, your confidence naturally starts to improve along with that. They both work hand in hand. And then, of course, the way that you speak, what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, all of those dynamics continue to shift. But in the beginning, let's go right back to basics, like when somebody's brand new. They've never sold, I won't say they've never sold, everyone's sold something. They've never intentionally sold products or services, or they've never intentionally made recommendations to others, all right? Although, funnily enough, we do all of those things unintentionally all of the time, all right? Every one of us at some point has pointed somebody to a lovely restaurant or a great movie, or whatever it might be that you've recommended, a great local cafe or restaurant, whatever it might be, right? We naturally recommend. We go on holiday, we come back, we tell people, oh my gosh, if you ever get a chance, you've got to go to that place. You've got to go to this place. We do it all the time. And it's interesting how human beings, and again, it's all part of the makeup of how we are conditioned in society to fear being rewarded for recommending something. So it's a strange phenomenon. I've been selling since I was 11. So for me, I'm not going to say zero because there's always another level, right? Another layer, but almost zero hesitations to recommend something great to others, right? Like I'll happily just recommend anything great to others. And guess what? As far as I'm concerned, network marketing, direct selling, affiliate marketing, these are tools that I think every human on the planet should be benefiting from. Personal perception. I think every human on the planet, if they understood, and this is the key, if they understood the power of mastering network marketing, it would serve them for the entire duration of their life like nothing else could. Like really. Ordinary person, average person, nothing extraordinary needed other than a burning desire to progress and win, right? So what does a brand new person that's got that desire to win, they've got a fire in their belly, they've got passion to produce a result, and it's important to be in touch with all of those things, all right? That's why we tell every new person to plug in to as many Zooms and trainings and education points as possible, right? Train yourself up to be a lean, solid, focused results producer, all right? And it does take training. Like anything on the planet takes training, consistency over time. So when you're brand new, 9 out of 10 people are new to the concept of recommending something and getting rewarded for it. All right, it's not a normal thing that we do in life. So here's what's interesting. We happily do it when we're not getting paid. And when somebody says you can get paid for it, something freezes up inside our psyche. Identify that. So I want you to relate to, if you're brand new and you just watched a really great movie or read a really awesome book or whatever your thing is, heard a fantastic song on the radio, whatever it might be. If you've just had a really great experience with something and you had to share that, not had to, we don't have to do anything. You wanted to share that with a friend, a colleague, or even a stranger, a family member, a neighbor, whatever, wherever you are. If you wanted to share that, how comfortable would you be to share it? And then look at why. Why are you comfortable sharing your experiences freely with others in certain areas of your life? You just got into a new hobby, or you just produced a result at work, you just had a promotion, whatever it might be. When you're sharing good experiences and great experiences with others without hesitation, what has you do that? How does it make you feel when you do that? What about when you recommend a movie or a book or a restaurant or whatever it might be, and your friend or colleague or work friend or family member actually takes you up on the recommendation and then calls you back to thank you? How does that make you feel? How excited are you? How does that conversation go? How does the discussion go? Back and forth. You share your experiences, they share their experiences, you compare notes, all of that stuff, right? How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel when they loved what you loved? Pretty awesome, right? Why is that? Why do we feel really good when somebody else loves what we love? Because it's a confirmation. Most people are externally referenced. We're always looking for external confirmations to self-validate, all right? So we feel extra good when we're not the only one bragging about something, but somebody else agrees with us. Oh, wow, I was right. How good does that feel? Like we didn't know we were right before, but when somebody confirms it, now we know we're right. 99% of people need external validation to feel worthy. So it improves our self-worth. That interaction improves our confidence, our self-esteem, makes us feel good, right? Somebody approved of your choice in something. That's how flimsy we are as humans, by the way. It's such a non-event when you get past it, but when you're not past it, it's everything. And the evidence is in the opposite of that. What happens when you recommend something and somebody takes you up on the recommendation and comes back and gives you the opposite feedback? That restaurant was crap. What are you talking about? What exactly did you love about it? The ambience was crap. The service was rubbish. The food was third class. I don't even understand how you could, go back again, let alone tell me to go there. How does that make you feel? Most people thrown off balance immediately, right? Completely off balance. Oh my God, what have I done? I'm so sorry. It's like we fall apart at the seams, right? What happens after that? We just got to study ourselves, study the patterns of behavior, right? The next time you discover a great restaurant, are you going to recommend it to that friend again? Highly likely, however much you love it and however much you think that they love it, you will already have shrunk. Your ability to be free has already been taken away from yourself, by yourself, by the way. They didn't take anything away from you. They just gave you honest feedback, but you put yourself in a cage. You shrunk your worlds. You see how that works? And it's in everything in life, by the way. When we get disapproval, when we get disagreement, when we get an opposite reaction to what we expect, we shrink. The likelihood of you ever recommending a restaurant to that friend is massively reduced. All right. In fact, what you will probably do is wait for them to recommend something to you. And then you can go back and praise it to rebuild the bridges and rebuild the relationship. Right? That's the kind of weird stuff that we do as humans. So we're externally referenced, always looking for approval, always looking for some kind of validation outside of ourselves. All right. So guess what happens when you try and recommend something that actually has a reward attached to it? Now it looks like you're not just recommending it because you love it, but you're just recommending it because you're going to get something out of it. So all of a sudden, we really start getting clammy on that. That's a big hidden, out of sight, out of view reason that many people will not freely share a phenomenal opportunity that they see for themselves. Do you see? You saw something. So just remind yourself always of this. It's so powerful. Analyzing yourself and your behaviors and your responses and your reactions. So powerful. Let's go back to when you first saw whatever you saw. A friend of yours called you up, all excited, waggy tail. Oh my goodness, I've seen something incredible. I'd love you to check it out. I'd love to share it with you. Come along to this Zoom or watch this recording, or let's meet for coffee so I can share it with you. Whatever your difference based on the relationship and the context of what's going on, however you expose them to the information. However you were exposed to the information. But somebody called you up. Chances are they were excited, enthusiastic, but didn't give you all of the information over the phone. If they did, they risked massively losing you. They may not have if you ended up joining them anyway, but oftentimes we end up puking on people. We tell them too much and we actually mess up their experience of the journey. It's a little bit like what we do is we tell them the score of the football match or the cricket match or the basketball match or whatever it might be. We tell them the score and then tell them to come and watch it with us. It's kind of a spoiler alert, right? So we kind of do that for the opportunity. You tell the score that, I know what's going to happen next. What's the point of watching it? So be mindful of that. Don't be don't expose yourself to that risky path where you say a little bit too much and they've made a decision about it without even bothering to look because they think they've already seen something like that before, heard something like that before, experienced something like that before. So again, always remember, say less to more people. All right. Say less to more people. Learn to say less to more people. So remind yourself what happened with you. Your friend calls you up, said X, Y, Z. You ended up getting the information, whichever way you got it. It may have been that you became a customer of something, started using a product or a service. It may have been that you went straight into the business side because you're looking for something to improve your cash flow, your financial position, your financial elevation. You had a goal or a dream or something you wanted to accomplish, whatever it was. You got exposed to the information. There was a match. You saw something for you and you jumped in. Now, there might have been a conversation between that. Now, there's again, even in that space, there are self-led people. Like I'm the kind of person, if I see something, I don't need somebody to sell it to me. If I see something I like and make a decision, I make my own decisions. I don't need anyone to follow me up. I'll follow them up when I'm ready. And if I'm ready, and if it's something that fits. But 95% of people are not self-led. So they need following up. Were you followed up or did you follow your sponsor up? Just learning about yourself. Did they have to chase you 3 times, 5 times, 10 times before you signed up? Or were you chasing them? Where's the link? I want in. What do I do next? How do I get in? Just check your personality out as well. But also know that however you are, there's always the opposite. This profession is so great. It teaches us to understand ourselves and understand others. And therefore, you can start to learn to communicate effectively with every type of personality. All right. So chances are you had doubts. So don't be surprised if somebody has doubts. Chances are you might have been a little bit skeptical, a little bit hesitant, a little bit non-responsive. Guess what? If somebody else is, no surprise. Why are we surprised when somebody has some fear, some hesitation, questions? It's normal. It's absolutely normal for people to have that, because that's, we live in a world where we are told from the day we're born till the day we wake up that everything is difficult, and don't take risks, don't take chances, be really careful. And it's good advice. As a broad brushstroke of advice goes, it's great advice, but unfortunately we take it too far. And we forget that in order to experience new things and break out of our comfort zones and what we know, that it's impossible to have a breakthrough without expansion, without growing, without taking risk, right? Growth is risk. Growth equals risk. It's a direct correlation. It's why people stay in crappy relationships, because they know that if they really took responsibility, they wouldn't be there. It's a scary thing. Like the dog sitting on the nail, right? It's the dogs. You may have heard of the story. I'll just quickly tell it. But there's a old fellow sitting on his front yard, rocking back and forth on a chair. He's got a little dog sat next to him, and it's having a little bit of a moan, whining away. The dog's whining away. Neighbor walks past, says, "Hey, is your dog okay there?" It's just whining away. What's going on? And the owner says, "Oh, dog's okay, sitting on a nail. It's just sitting on a nail." And the passerby says, "Why don't you move the dog from the nail? Or why don't we, why doesn't the dog get up off the nail and move away?" And he goes, "Oh, it's just comfortable enough. It's not uncomfortable enough to want to move. It's comfortable where it's at." How many of us do life comfortably? Something's not working. It's not optimal. It's not ideal, but we just put up with it. We get used to it and we just keep going with it. Even though we know it's not difficult, it's so difficult. Comfort has so much of a hold over us. Comfort will have us do things every single day out of habit and out of fear that we know doesn't work for us, but we do it anyway. Be honest with yourself. How many areas of your life did you stop taking risks in because it's comfortable, right? A relationship's an easy one. Health is another big one. And finances. Money is the biggest one on the planet. Everybody's broke. Like literally 95% of people are broke on the planet. Statistically, Yale did a study in 1973, and 95% of every human being, by that time they got to 65, was either broke or had passed away. What a result. You're a human being born into the world full of possibilities, and after 65 years of giving it your comfortable shot, because you didn't give it your best shot, you gave it a comfortable shot, knowing full well statistically, because we've known these stats now since 1973. So that's what, 50 years now we've known that stat. We have known for 50 years that human beings live in the comfort zone. And the result that produces is you end up at a stage in your life where you can't work anymore, are unable to work anymore, or you're able to work, but nobody wants you to work anymore. So if you're blessed enough to be self-employed, you might just have a breakthrough like Colonel Sanders and people like that do, even in their later years. But if you're employed and you're depending on somebody else, nobody wants you at 65. That's the harsh reality of it. They'll quickly replace you with somebody younger and cheaper if they can. So all of those risks are waiting for you, and you still walk straight into it without even a second glance at what else might be possible for you. Do you see how comfortable human beings are? They will spend a lifetime not taking a chance because they're scared of a million and one things. All right. So these are the things we're dealing with. So when you're new, you will hesitate to do the simple thing of inviting people, like a puppy with a waggy tail that's excited to see its owner. That's all you got to do. Get excited, call up people and say, "Listen, I've seen something amazing. I'd love you to check it out. Pukis and Couch. What do I say? How do you invite people? That's it. You don't have to say anything more than that. Danielle, listen, I've seen something incredible. I reckon you'll love it. Can you jump on a Zoom with me? Half an hour, 45 minutes. I'd love you to check it out. Boom. It's a yes or a no answer. Maybe. I don't know, 3 options. Yes, maybe, no. So what? Unattach yourself from all 3 responses, because none of the responses mean anything. Many people say no. You have to learn to reinterpret things to your advantage. If somebody says no, you hear, not now. Timing takes the edge off of it. No feels so personal. It's like they're saying no to you. No, they're not. They're just saying no, not now. I'm too busy right now. It's not a priority for me right now. I'm not present to that possibility right now. 1,000,001 things going on in their life. It just means not now. Timing changes everything. Timing changes everything. Remember that. If they say maybe, now it's a case of how skillful are you to navigate the maybe into a yes. If they give you a maybe, they're giving you an opening. Yeah, maybe. Let me see. I'll try. There's a window there that you can lean into to turn a half-baked yes, a maybe, into a solid concrete yes. That's something you can work on. But the actual invitation is just a really free, easy, straightforward conversation. Hannah, listen, I've just come across some information. It's blown me away. I'm so blessed that a friend of mine told me about some information that I had no idea about before. But there's an opportunity to get into something really massive over the next few years. And I'd love you to come and find out about it on a Zoom. Or I'd love to meet up with you for a coffee and show you on my laptop what's available. That's it. What is it? I'll tell you when we get together. Or you'll find out when you get on the Zoom. That's it. Tell me something. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Anything I say will spoil the experience. I want you to see it from start to finish, the way that I saw it, so that you get the full experience. Done. Don't deviate from that. Again, we have a knee-jerk reaction trained from childhood. When somebody asks a question, we feel the need to answer it. Tell me a little bit, bang, knee-jerk reaction. Because when you were young and mum and dad said, tell me X, Y, Z, if you didn't tell them, there was a negative consequence. So we were trained to tell them, right? Which in that context, all well and good. Then you went to school. If the teacher asked you a question you didn't answer, if you're non-responsive, guess what? Negative consequence. Trained to respond to questions. Went to the workplace, the boss asked you a question, and it's relevant in that context, right? So you can see you're trained from a young age to do things that work in certain environments. But we forget that that's not the only response. We've got multiple responses in everything, and we out-train them. We're comfortable with the response. When somebody asks us a question, we're comfortable with giving an answer. And it's uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar to not give an answer. So you have to train yourself. You have to train that muscle to resist the temptation and say nothing that'll give the game away. All of this is work, right? And of course, if they say yes, happy days. But even a yes doesn't mean a yes. Many people say yes because that's where they're at in life. So many people, I won't say most, but so many people I know say yes to stuff and don't even mean it. Hey, listen, I've got a party going on Saturday night. Will you be there? Yeah, I'll be there. No intention at all of coming. Yeah, I'll see you there. They've got no intention. Group of us are getting together on Thursday afternoon for lunch, old school friends. Do you fancy joining us? Yeah, cool. I'll try my best. No intention at all. So even a yes doesn't mean anything. So then you get better and improve your skill of excitement, enthusiasm. Let a no be a no. If that's where they're at, if it's a solid no, leave it alone. You don't want to annoy people. When the timing is better and when they get curious and when they get ready, they'll have that conversation with you. All right. Reapproach them in 3 months' time. If they're a maybe, learn to influence the maybe into a yes, a solid yes. And if they're a yes, double confirm the yes. All right. So here's how you influence a maybe into a yes or double confirm the yes. It happens in a conversation. Oh, Brian, brilliant. Thank you for agreeing to check it out. I know you're going to love it. Now, the event is on Tuesday at 3:00 and it's online. Can you please put a message in your calendar on your phone, put a reminder and block that time out, and I'll call you 5 minutes before with the link. Is that okay? Bang. You've taken a positive action. You've got some commitment. They put it in their diary. It reduces the excuses. They still might blow you out. Doesn't matter. We cannot control what they do. What we can do is optimize what we do, improve what we do. It's like blocking the holes in the bathtub. All right. If you're trying to fill the bathtub and there's holes in it, you're never going to fill the bathtub. But if you learn to block the holes, now you're increasing the odds of starting to fill the bathtub. Might not fill it straight away or as fast as you like, but at some point you get really great at blocking out all the holes. And guess what? The bathtub always fills up nicely. So that's the kind of journey. Imagine your invitation was so irresistible that 8 out of 10 people had to come and find out what you're excited about. Wouldn't that be amazing? It's a journey. Get committed to learning how that works, right? Now, if you've got 8 people that want to come and hear about what you've got, at least 3 will show up. Imagine that. So you're thinking all 8 are going to show up. No, all 8 never show up. But if 3 show up, something's got to happen. If you're getting 3 out of 10 showing up every week, it's inevitable. At some point, something's got to give way. When you build your competence through your competence and your confidence and your understanding and your abilities and your skills, as you start building all of that, if you're getting 3 out of 10 to show up, it doesn't take long before 1 out of 10 is saying yes and joining, following through. And then 2 out of 10 are saying yes and joining and following through. And maybe if you really start to master this thing, 3 out of 10 will say yes and join by following through. That's mastery. If you're getting a hit rate of 3 out of 10, you're one of the best in the world. So, some of you might be looking at it going, what? Yes. Every leader you look at that's produced a massive result loses more than they win. In everything, by the way. Look at anybody that's on a pedestal in any industry on the planet. They lose more times than they win to get there. All right. You study their books and read and learn and listen and do all of that research you do. These things are known. That's why people are encouraged to take risks. Even in success, there's a risk that you're going to fail 7 out of 10 events. Best footballer on the planet goes onto that pitch. Everyone expects them to score, but guess what? Chances of scoring are less than chances of not scoring. Just the way it is. Attempts at goal versus getting a goal. Attempts at getting the basket versus not getting the basket or getting the basket. Different stats, right? And that's the same here. 1 out of 10, congratulations, you had a breakthrough. 2 out of 10, top 10% on the planet. Well done. 3 out of 10, genius. Everybody should be learning from you. You're now a master. You are fully qualified to mentor, coach, and teach anyone on the planet how to get a 3 out of 10 batting average, as they say. All right. If you get 3 out of 10 in everything, you're a legend. Whatever sport on the planet, whatever business on the planet, whatever investment on the planet, if you can get 3 stocks right out of every 10 that you invest in over time, inevitable, you'll win big. The odds are in your favor. Can you see that? So everywhere you look, you just got to look at the numbers. The numbers are always in your favor when you work them. Now, if you only spoke to 5 people, guess what? You've killed your own odds. Can you see that? Even if you're a master, if you only spoke to 5, you're only going to get 1.5 person in, and the half people never do anything anyway. So you only really got 1 person in. Even if you're a master, you still have to work the numbers to work for you. It's not about how good you are at what you do. It's about how often you do it. Jim Rohn says that beautifully. He goes, if you're a master at something and I'm new, I'll beat you. And he goes, how does that happen? How can somebody that's new and not know what they're doing beat somebody that has mastery? Because the master will speak to 10 and get their 3. And as he said, he might need to speak to 100 to get 3. He'll speak to 100. He'll speak to 200 and get 6. The master stops at 10, i.e. doing whatever it takes to produce the result. The result is the same. Whether you're a master or a newbie, you can both have 3 people join your business this month based on your work rate. You can outwork or outperform somebody that has mastery with effort. It's a beautiful thing about direct selling. You really get to choose the level of game you play. Most of us play small and therefore produce small. Most because we're dealing with our own dragons. We're dealing with our own challenges and fears. So this is why we say that personal development is the foundation of everything. Self-analysis is the real key to success. Being aware of where you let yourself fall over and not get back up is the biggest breakthrough. You're not going to learn anything from anyone above you. You're not going to learn anything from me that's going to change your game. I can share stuff. I can share what I've been through, and you can hear from other people, and you can see your own stuff. But it's only when you start looking at your own stuff that you can overcome your own stuff, because we're all different. Every one of us has gone through different paths, different journeys, different experiences. So you have to undo your stuff, right? It's like you've got a messy Rubik's Cube in here, and you've got to get it all aligned and calibrated and colors all on the right surfaces and everything, right? And it starts with getting one surface right first, and then getting the edges right. That's what they used to say. And then there had to be a T on each side. That's about as far as I got. When I used to read those books on Rubik's Cubes in those early days, I got as far as being able to get the T's done, and then I got bored, moved on. But some people, they're like, done. If you've ever seen videos, if you haven't, worth watching. Kids with Rubik's Cubes that are completely messed up by people, handed back to them, and within no time at all, they've mastered the system. They've got the patterns. They know what to do next. They've mastered it to a level where they know, if I do this, and if I do that, and if I do this and that, then that happens every time, 100% of the time. Imagine knowing your game here that well, that if I do this, 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 and this, then this happens. That's all it is. You'll soon know whether you're a 1 out of 10, a 2 out of 10, or a 3 out of 10, or a 0 out of 10. And then you know where you stand, and then you know where the gap is to grow. And then you've got to take more risks. If you want to grow, you've got to take risks. So what were you doing that produced a small result? What can you do that's risky that produces a bigger result? Are you audacious? Are you bold when you speak to people? Are you courageous when you speak to people? Do you have straight talk, or do you have wimpy talk? Do you have small talk? Are you fearful in conversations? Are you skirting around the subject? Are you direct and you get straight to the point, hit the center? Do you see what I mean? How straight can you be? Sue, listen, as long as I've known you, you've always struggled with money. I don't understand. I've just shown you something phenomenal and you're bad mouthing it. What plan have you got? Tell me. Bang. Have you got the courage to have that kind of conversation? Do you see? John, ever since I've known you, you've moaned about not having enough to go on holiday. Ever since I've known you. That's why I thought of you. Straight away when I saw this, I thought, oh my God, this is going to help you finally get out of that house and get around the world a little bit, because that's what you've always wanted to do and never been able to do. I don't understand. What did I miss? Or what did you miss? Have you got something better up your sleeve? If you have, great. If you haven't, come on. What are you waiting for? Let's do this. Let's get you traveling. Whatever that conversation is. So that's where your homework before the conversation comes in handy. When you are speaking with people, rapport building is a huge part of the process. Build rapport, get to know them, get to know what their life is like, get to know what's important to them, and then offer what's important to them on a plate. That's the easiest way to succeed in this beautiful industry. Selling what you've got is limited. Selling what they want, easy peasy. Find out what they want and hand it to them on a plate. Wrap it up in the form of your opportunity. So there you go. Can you see how this can help you get that? Great. Let's get started. Let's get moving. It's not going to be easy. There's a learning curve. There's a growth curve. There's skills to be learned, but we've got a system and a platform that allows you to do all of those things. Let's get committed to what's good for you first. Get clear about what's good for you, what's important to you, what your absolute must is, and then let's go to work together. Don't do it alone. Let's lock arms and work on that stuff together and, commit to it. Next 2-3 years, done. Let's wrap it up. So that's me done today. What do I say, Cowpush? What do I say if I'm new to get somebody on a Zoom? Listen, I've seen something freaking awesome off the chain, and I want you to experience it too. When are you free? I need half an hour of your time. And do it in your words, right? Don't say freaking awesome. If you never say freaking awesome, then they're going to think you're gone weird. Be you. Be an excited version of you. All right. Be an enthusiastic version of you. That's what works. Otherwise, you become unrecognizable. They think you're an alien. They think you've been abducted, and then they're just going to start avoiding you and thinking, "Oh my God, you've lost it." Don't lose it. JB, how you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. How is everyone? Hope you're all good.
All good, man.
Right. So what used to really annoy me, it's come home here. What used to really annoy me was when people didn't do things in my time. And I realized they do things in their time. And tonight, it's funny, tonight I've actually got back to people who were very promising 2-3 months ago. So now I'm starting to get back to them again. So I'm doing the rolling thing. And I'm averaging probably 2 people a week. Speaking to quite a lot of people, I'm averaging 2 a week getting them in. And it's getting better and better and better because I've got better at getting out of my own head, ignoring the no's, and getting back to the people that just show that glimmer. And I've just, from being at Tony Robbins, I've spoke to loads of people I connected with and got a WhatsApp group of 25 or 26 people. Wow. So now I'm going to work with those individually and then get those on them. You know what I mean? I don't think that, it'll won't all happen at once. So I know that in the next couple of weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, get them all by messaging them individually, phoning them, building rapport, and then selling. I'll share it and they know, but then I'll build the rapport and then share. Brilliant. Because then they see, because I've got the freedom and I've got the life, I know what I'm doing. And I realize that it's their time. And I used to be like, why aren't they doing that now? I said they should do this now. What are they doing? Hang on a minute. Can you not see what I can see? This is ace. But everybody's in a different paradigm, in a different world, in a different life. So it will happen. Brilliant. Just bear with it. And the only time's is second. And since that first day I started, I'm done. And all of a sudden you become that person that is a network marketer. It can just happen. It's dead easy. So thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And by the way, 2 a week is absolute beast mode. All right, we're talking creme de la creme, top of the league, Super League stuff. So congratulations on proving the stats, so to speak. So brilliant. I love it. Well done, buddy. Dizzy, you're up next, bud.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Feels like I've not seen you for ages. I had a family holiday where I kind of switched off from everything. However, there's that natural instinct to network, right? And I made probably about 4 or 5 contacts with people I just connected with, and they asked, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm into crypto." And everyone said the same thing. I really want to get into crypto, but I don't know how. And I want to thank you, Caps, because what you did today was you took it back to the basics, right? And I've been in this industry since I met you 18, 19 years ago, maybe even 20 years now. And it's easy to get lost in your experience of just communicating and just holding on to baggage. So I think what you did here today was amazing. Just a simple, listen, I've got something that you really need to see. When have you got 30 minutes? Just go back to basics. So much appreciated, Calps. And back in the swing of things, mate. So
And thank you, Dizzy, for being humble and real enough, because oftentimes when you've been doing something for almost 2 decades, a level of arrogance can kick in where you want to show people that, hey man, I'm always on it. And the reality is nobody's always on it. We all go through the ups and the valleys of everything. And that's why it's important to stay plugged in, right? So awesome. Back to basics, buddy. Let's get it done. Sue, you're up next.
Hey, good evening, Cowpush. Thank you for an awesome conversation. And I love that you picked that up today because somebody in the group mentioned about, having this conversation. So I really love it that you're also responding to people and their requests as well. But I just wanted to say that, I'm in Dubai at the moment, and, I've lived in UK for all my life. And, I was like, okay, I don't know anybody in Dubai you know, and how am I going to start sharing with people? And you know, I'm not going to lie, like I haven't been, you know, like hectic and heavy around sharing, but last week I reached out to a lady on LinkedIn who has a network of people, and I thought, let me just, you know, reach out and meet her. I mean, I'm not you know, a very experienced networker. I've only been doing it a couple of years. I'm from corporate and I've never done this really, you know, for as long as what some of you guys have. But you know, the power of networking is phenomenal. So just by talking to her, and she was like, you know, so I asked her about her, like, what do you do? And she shared about what she does. And then obviously the natural thing is to ask me what I do, right? And then the first thing that would come up is, you know, I do crypto. And she's like, oh my God, like, you know, you need to teach me how to do that, because I've been thinking about doing crypto, but I didn't know what to do. You know, and I said to her, like, you know, so many people do crypto try to do it on their own. They don't know what they're doing and they always lose out, right? I said, it's really important to do crypto with, you know, somebody that you know. And then she told me that she's got a team of 200 women in her network who, you know, who could really do with learning about how to create another income stream, how to get into the crypto space. And, you know, it was just a really natural conversation, you know. So, you know, and it is like that, isn't it? You know, she's somebody new. I've not met her before. And, you know, just really continue, you know, I think you have to have a few touch points with one person to really get to build that, you know, like, know and trust with them.
Yeah.
But if you already know them, that you should already have the basics of that. But obviously I didn't know her, so she's not going to just hand over money to me without really knowing me, right? So, you know, it's really just about me nurturing my relationship with her and really getting into her network. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what we can grow over here in Dubai.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Look at that. One quality contact, meet for a coffee, say hello, 200 potential prospects that she wants to open up to you. Brilliant. Perfect. Right. And something you said there, yeah, about having multiple touch points. Yes. But always remember, it's not necessary. I will share a very quick story. A friend of mine, and I've done this myself. Yeah, when you've done something for 28 years consistently every day, you've done everything. And I've certainly done this, but it was just refreshed about two months ago now. I was in a mall with a friend of mine. We sat there having a coffee, and I got a phone call. So I picked up the phone call. I was on the call, and while I'm pitching someone, my friend, who's also a seasoned networker, there are three guys walking past our table, and they're having a conversation about property. And he just reached out and said, "Hi, guys." He stopped them in their tracks. Hi. And he acted like he knew them already. Big, warm handshakes. How are you? Come and have a seat. Strangers. Come and have a seat. Sit with us. What are you doing? Within 10 minutes, the guy sent him 1,000 USDT not even into a company, directly to him to help him set up in the business. So the touch points can happen in a compressed space of time as well. If you're able to really build solid rapport, and again, what I said earlier, have courage, be bold. If you're bold enough to ask, you'll be surprised how quickly, if people warm to you and connect with you, they'll be willing to take action on the basis of your confidence and your presence.
Amazing. I need to brush up on my rapport skills then.
But yeah, again, everyone's different. So don't be fixed in, I can't do something now. And yes, you know, most people are not that open. That guy was particularly open. To hand over $1,000 to a stranger within 15 minutes of meeting him is extraordinary. John, how are we doing, buddy? Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Doing fantastic, Kalpesh. Thank you very much for taking your time to give us this training. You know, I am actually, I deal, I would say 99% of cold market, very confident person. And I remember a phrase that I can't remember his second name, but Danny's a copywriter. He makes like 7 figures in 24 hours by doing all his research. And the one thing that's always stuck with me with what he said was that if you can enter the conversation that is already taking place in people's heads, your inflow. So basically the way I do it is like Sue mentioned too, I have just joined all these networking groups. I mean, proper offline groups that are online, of course. And then of course you get, you know, identify some people. And I know for a fact, and you alluded to this, in some of the part of your training there, that most people are broke. So the conversation to talk about broke things isn't difficult. So I just have a conversation, and people, you know, when you say interesting things and you are interesting and interested in them, people ask you, what do you do? And this is a key thing, is to get your one-liner. It needs to roll off the tongue. So what do you do? Oh, I'm in crypto. I mean, no, I don't even talk about crypto. I say, I help people create true financial security. It gives them peace of mind, and more importantly, it gives them options. This stuff that, you know, you want to buy a car, you want to pay your mortgage off. So they're thinking, well, how the hell do you do that? It gets the conversation going. And when we're in the flow and they're in the feeling and we're in the conversation, I say, listen, have you got a couple of minutes? And I explain to them the current situation. You've got a bank account, you've got your bank account, and you pay your bills and all that sort of stuff. Well, imagine this other world over here. It's called as decentralized finance. Well, don't worry about that. It's just something that, so you've got the same things over here, but you've got more options. And I say, look, and I'll basically do the presentation that Gordon put together. The one slide takes me like 3 minutes. Literally, I say, remember we talked about the bank account? Well, this is the same over here. Remember we talked about that? It's the same over here. So what basically happens, and I talk about that, and I'm set. I've got about a half a dozen people coming on board, and it's easy. It is so easy.
You're building bridges between their world and our world.
Yeah, basically, you know, metaphors. You know, imagine this over here.
Perfect.
It's the same over here. It's just called different, but it's
Love it.
just more effective.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for that, John. Absolutely perfect. Tom, how are you, my friend?
And how are you?
Awesome.
Yeah, you know, I listen to you, and I think the big fear that, you know, people have is talking to people, and you know, either they don't believe enough in their opportunity, you know, they don't believe enough in themselves, and you know, I think that when you do get those successes, you know, those little successes, you know, those build on you know, build into big successes. And you know, my strategy has just been to build as big a prospect list as possible. I do a lot of online marketing. So really anybody who likes a post of mine, I consider that a soft indication of interest. It says, I'm paying attention to you. I'm reading your posts. They may not be ready now, but if you just keep inviting them, you don't know. I've got like 180 people on my spreadsheet right now. And just before every webinar, I'll just go out and invite, you know, 50 of them. I don't know who's going to show up, but, you know, it's just a numbers game in our business. So I don't get all emotional about it. I don't get fearful about it. I just know that I've got 180 people, and out of those 180 people, I'm going to sign up 5 or 6 of them a month, you know, just pure numbers. But I think it's important that, you know, if you're doing something, you know, the old saying that people want the variety of life, they want the spice of life, but they're not willing to pay the price of monotony to get it. And in our business, monotony is the invitations. It's just, if you're doing a real system, you just really have to master inviting people. And one of the books that I read, I think it was The Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. It's an old one, but it's a goodie. And the one thing Tom Hopkins taught me was, you know, how to ask a lot of questions of an individual. What motivates you? How hard is that to ask somebody? What motivates you? You know, what's your life? What's one of your dreams that you'd really love to accomplish? And, you know, after they've bit on a few of those, just like a fish is biting on a piece of bait, you know, it's like when I'm fishing out in my lake, I let that bass take that worm, and I'll pop that lure open. I'll let him run with the line and let him get it good and swallowed. And when he's ready, I flip that thing back over and give it a good yank. You know, I know when I've got them, but you know, when you have 3 or 4 things on an individual and you know what their hot buttons are, it's pretty easy to say, you know, hey, I know you said you wanted this, but you're not willing to invest an hour or 30 minutes of your time to you know, just check something out. It doesn't cost you anything. And that's the crazy thing, is we're in a business. There's no cost. There's no risk cost. There's time. Okay. 30 minutes. They spend that on social media every day. And so I get a little bit hard on people when they say, well, I don't know if I have time. I said, you spent 30 minutes this morning laying in bed, you know, doom scrolling. Don't give me that. You know, take the time. If you care enough about them, you can get a little bit forceful. You can get a little bit more in their face. but you're doing it because you care. You're not doing it because you have a mean voice. You're doing
Yeah.
it because you genuinely care about them. And I just think that that's the big thing that people have to do is the minute you have enough prospects in your hopper, it's not like if you only have 3, you tend to kitty those. Okay. But if you have 180, it's like, I don't care who shows up, I care that somebody does show up.
Yeah.
But I don't care who shows up.
Yeah.
The minute they do show up, then I care about them because that means they care about themselves. And I think that's the important distinction to make is when somebody does reach out and say, I'm willing to invest my time, at that point you say, awesome. I'm ready to dive in and invest in you if you're willing to invest in yourself. And you got to run them through those filters because if you don't, they're going to end up wasting your time. And if you have a big enough prospect list, you can actually be selective of who you work with.
Yeah.
And that's when the game changes. That's when your mindset changes, the tone of your voice changes. So I think it's important that if you're going to do this business, focus on building a 100-person invite list. I don't care if it takes you 90 days or 6 months to build it, but build a big list because you don't know. I don't know when Dan's going to show up one day and been fired or his boss told him he was a loser or whatever. And all of a sudden he says, Tom just keeps inviting me all the time. I think I'm just finally going to show up, because I'm ready for it. And you don't know when people are ready, but great training. Thanks for your time and all the great reminders that you give us every week. So appreciate you.
You bet. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gents, I hope you got enough there for you to chew on, as they say. Don't let it drop. Think it through and have a look at where your tripwires are so that you can give yourself the advantage going forward of knowing yourself better than anyone else and therefore optimizing, getting the best out of yourself. That's all we're ever doing in this game, getting the best from ourselves because the system always works. The system is the constant. Everything else, the variables comes through us. So, make sure that you consistently work on you so that the business will start working for you. All right. So much love. Thank you so much. As always, we're back on this link every single Wednesday, same time, same place, teaching, learning, and sharing about this beautiful industry called network marketing, the ability